Thank you guys for taking this time. So I guess before we start, I'll just lay out what are we going to talk about. There are four major things that we want to cover in this discussion. And these four things are, number one, what we think is one of the biggest risk humanity is facing in our generation. Number two, the solution to that risk, or our proposed solution to that risk. Number three, why we think this solution will be the winning one. And number four, we'll talk about the progress that we have made, which is a little self-promotional, but I think, at the end I can get some slots for that. So starting with what we think is the biggest risk humanity faces. We think the biggest risk that our generation and humanity as a whole faces is the risk of misaligned AGI. And this risk stems from two things. Number one is the AGI that is being built these days is built via closed source corporation. So an Anthropic, an OpenAI, these are the corporations that are working on building foundational models that will become AGI. They have the control of what capabilities an AGI will have. They have control of what values this AGI will be aligned to. So in misaligned AGI, the first issue is that it is closed source. And the second issue generally is that if there is one model that becomes AGI, there is no way it can be aligned to the entire humanity. Every AI model has biases of their own. And if one model becomes AGI, there is no way it can serve the values of the diverse species that we are. So that's why we are trying to solve that problem. What we want to do here is we want to build an open AGI that is aligned to the entire humanity. Oh, wait. So in an ideal case scenario, what we want is that AI is the most powerful invention that we have ever created. It should be aligned to the entire humanity. It should be open source. And we also want that every person that leverages AGI is able to kind of mold it in the way they want to use it. So these are the problems that we are solving. Now let's get into how we thought we could solve this problem. This is at a very high level what our architecture of AGI would be. First thing is being open source. So I think being open source is fairly simple. You just build models that are open source. These models, as they are built, they are live. You can download them from Hugging Face. You can play around. So the first piece is simple. Have these models open source. You can decentralize these models, which means community will have ownership of these models. And these community can vote how these models are further fine-tuned and how new capabilities are added for them. The bigger problem that we struggled with was solving for alignment. And why is it a bigger problem? It's because if we build one model that becomes AGI, there is no way it can have multiple biases. It'll have like if it's a liberal model, it can never be a conservative model. If it's a model that is pro-crypto, it can never represent anti-crypto views. So it's inherently impossible to have one single model that can be aligned to multiple views. So the solution was simple. That, okay, you know what? AGI is not a single model. AGI is nothing but a collection of intelligences. That means there'll be multiple AI models that have different capabilities and have different alignments. And these models collectively will constitute AGI. And that is our version of AGI that we are building. With Sentient, there are some models that are built by Sentient. We launched Dobby, which is our first model. Dobby inherently is a model that is biased to be pro-crypto and pro-freedom. And then there are other third parties that we are working with to build their own AI models. For example, we are building a model with movement, which is more of a DeFi-focused model. That's a different skill set that it will have. We are building a model with another Web2 company that is more focused on coding, which is a different skill set it would have. So that is our version of broader AGI. There'll be multiple models with different skills and different alignment, and together they will constitute towards a central AGI, which is aligned to the broader humanity and has all the capabilities that we require. Wait a minute. Yeah, and now we come to the third thing. Okay, like we have an idea of how to build this whole open source AGI, how to align this to humanity. Why do we think this will win against closed source? Like after all, like OpenAI just raised like 40 billion at a 300 billion valuation. How can you possibly win, right? That was a big question that we were trying to ask as well. Why is the solution better? And I think there are, I think 4 big reasons. We have mentioned 3 here, but I'll talk about 1 more. 4 big reasons where we feel that open and decentralized AGI will win over closed source AGI. First reason, which is not mentioned here, is that it is less capital intensive to build AI models now. DeepSeek showed us that in 5 million, I can build a model that is better than the best model out there, which was OpenAI's O4. So capital is no more an advantage. So the 40-odd billion the closed source AI companies have, it doesn't matter anymore. It matters, but not as much. And then why we think this open source AGI will win is there are 3 other reasons that come from being open source and decentralized. First is developer contribution. A model that is built by OpenAI is limited to the contributions of their internal research team, which is limited by how many people they can hire. A model that is open source can have unlimited developer contributions from millions of developers around the globe. Our first model was built with the help of AI labs at Princeton, but we saw contributions even from Berkeley. We saw contributions even from MIT. So these research labs were coming together to add new things to the model. Unlimited developer contribution is a key edge that we have over closed source. And the second thing is more around data. Again, if you're a closed source model, you can only, your AI model is as smart as the data it is trained on. And as a closed source company, you only have access to the data that you can buy or is publicly available. Whereas if you're an open source model, anybody can take that model and train that model on their private data and upload the weights back. So now the model can have access to all kinds of data. It might even be private data, and the model will keep on improving. And the third reason that we thought why this will win is permissionlessness. An OpenAI, if you want to build an agent on OpenAI, you can have an API, but you'll never get ChatGPT distribution as easily. Whereas if you're building on an open source decentralized model, it's permissionless. Your agent can go live, your agent can have distribution. There are more incentives for more people to build agents on open source decentralized model rather than a closed source model. So that is why we think we might have a winning solution out here. Now I want to show you the broader ecosystem view. Okay, like fine, we are building models. We have figured out how to build open source AGI. How does this ecosystem work and how does everybody gets compensated? So on the right side, you see our version of AGI. Pretty simple. Bunch of models, all have different skills. Collectively, they constitute AGI. Then, build on top of that is the agent ecosystem. Now, if you're a third party, you could be a third-party agent that leverages a third-party interface and can use our model. You could also be an agent that is integrated with Sentient Chat. Sentient Chat is our version of ChatGPT. And now you have distribution from Sentient Chat. And you can get your users. And let's say if you are an enterprise that wants like a very private model on their private data, we have something called as a intelligent tuner, which can take our open source AGI and train it on your private data for specific skill sets that you require for your internal processes. And at the end, users will interact with these applications and agents built on open source AGI. If you look at it, how the intelligence and revenue flows, the intelligence flows here from models to agents to users, whereas revenue flows from users, they pay agents, and then agents eventually go pay to models. In this revenue flow, it's also important to compensate every contributor out there. And that is impossible without Web3. And this is where the blockchain part of Sentient comes into play. So all of this happens on the blockchain, which means if you have done any payment, it is tracked that what models you were using, and all of the contributions on these models are logged on the blockchain. So all value flows to the contributor. Even if you have contributed a small data set and the model got used, it will flow back to you. And we also mark the ownership of the model on the blockchain. So that not only defines just the right to revenue, but also right to govern the model, which would be decentralized on how a model evolves. So mostly the blockchain solves for ownership as well as the value flow in the open AGI ecosystem. Next, I want to just quickly talk about what products are already live, and I would encourage you to try all of these. So our first set of model is already live. You can go to sentient.xyz. Our models, you will have the Hugging Face link. Our models are hosted there. Our first model is Dobby. It's a 70B model. It is more performant than Llama 70B. You can check the benchmarks. It's an open source model. Run it on your GPUs. Run it on your laptop if you have a very strong laptop. But you can definitely run it on the GPUs and test the model for itself. The model that we built is has alignment to be a pro crypto model. So if you ask any model, is Bitcoin a good investment? Like an OpenAI model, they would have a non-crypto stance on it, a more safer stance on it, whereas Dobby is a pro-crypto model that will talk about the Bitcoin thesis and why Dobby thinks it's a good investment. Similarly, it's also pro-freedom and has tone alignment done. So Dobby is our first model that is already out. Another thing that is already out is Sentient Chat. Sentient Chat is our version of Perplexity or ChatGPT. This is currently invite only. It's powered by our own models. Like you use ChatGPT, you can use Sentient Chat. However, there are some differences that we think make it better. The two differences are, one, it is agentic. So you can call any agent in the Sentient ecosystem from Sentient Chat. We're integrated with Masari. You can just @Masari and get that agent to do a task for you. And second, it also has access to a search engine. So kind of similar to how Perplexity has access to internet data and the training data and gives you answers. Similarly, Sentient Chat also has access to internet data and gives you answers on the latest information and not just dependent on the training data that it had. And third, we have the Sentient blockchain, again, managing the ownership of the model and the value flow. Now we come to the final part where I tell you what progress we have made. I think what I'm really impressed with the Sentient team is the progress that we have made in building the ecosystem. We got our first model live in January. And since January, we got 10 teams to build model with us. So Movement, Arbitrum is building model with us. Eigen is building a governance model with us that will help them give recommendation on governance proposals that are on the DAO. Then there are multiple utility models being built. PySquare is a company that was a smart contract auditor. It's building a coding model with us for Solidity. Similarly, Kgen is a company that has a lot of data on gaming. So it's building a model that can power NPCs within different games. So multiple different models are being built within the Sentient ecosystem. Again, we have a strong agent ecosystem as well. All of these agents are integrated natively within Sentient Chat. Around 40 agents are already in the pipeline to be integrated, and we're almost talking to 100 more and prioritizing which ones will get integrated first. Beyond this, I do love the community that we have. We've just talked about traction, 10 plus models, 40 plus agents. The community is again pretty impressive. Around 700K followers on Twitter. We have around 500K followers on Discord. This is our QR code to the Discord. It's a very fun community. I would encourage you to scan and join our Discord community. And we also love how much excited users are to try our products. When Dobby, the model's ownership was distributed, there were around 660K users that participated. And they literally had to give an IQ test to earn ownership rights for Dobby. So 660K people who scored like 110 over IQ were able to get ownership of Dobby. We also launched waitlist for Sentient Chat. We got 3 million signups. And that's why we couldn't make it public. We are right now scaling our GPU capacity to scale that kind of traffic. We are also working with some enterprises. We are working with one of the big automotive manufacturing company in Asia. They're working with us to build a model that helps them build more efficient supply chain and manufacturing with their private data. And we are also working with one of the insurance providers to build a model for them that helps them do financial sales in a compliant manner. And this is the final slide, and I generally get very excited when I talk about this slide because this is why we think Sentient is one of the biggest opportunity, not just in AI crypto, but in AI as a whole. If you look at what crypto has done till date, BitTensor is community-owned, open, but barely has any utility. It's a bunch of subnets where miners mine the BitTensor token. Yet, it's valued pretty highly. And if you look at on the other end of the spectrum, OpenAI, closed source, privately owned, however, has incredibly high utility. Their models are great. ChatGPT is a great agent itself. Again, valued very highly. But these two are not really the ideal solution, right? And then you can see Perplexity, Anthropic, pretty close to OpenAI, closed source, useful, have high revenue. We loved when DeepSeek came out because DeepSeek was open source. It was also a high utility model, much better than o4. It was also cheaply built. So DeepSeek got us closer to what we think is the ideal solution. The only thing DeepSeek is not is decentralized. So DeepSeek is still controlled by one organization. While it's open source, you can't ask DeepSeek about China's past, which is what is the difference between DeepSeek and what Sentient models are building. And on the top right, you'll see Sentient, completely community-owned, completely open-source AGI, and something that will have very high revenue and very high utility. This is where we think the solution to the biggest problem that humanity faces is. This is how an open and decentralized AGI should be built, and that's what we are trying to do. And yeah, thank you.